So I'll start off today with explaining for us what a creeper is and the purpose that it has. For us, as a creeper is when we show the presentation of four known rushers, usually an over front, usually a 3 and a 5, a 1 and a 5, but we are going to drop one of those declared known rushers into coverage, and we are going to bring a non-declared rusher. A big part of our pass rush system when we get into known passing down is getting in the over front and working line games or allowing a two-way go to our weak side defensive end. If you have a good pass rusher in this position, then a natural progression a lot of times in high school football is to play slide lock protection. They're going to slide to the 3 technique, lock on that defensive end, scan the back into that B gap. So what we try to do is to get the offense to slide to that defensive end because he's a matchup problem. That's when our creepers can become effective. Now, we have creepers that we feel that are good versus the run and the pass. And to me in high school football, I think if you can call any creepers or run pressures on mixed downs, it helps you when an offense has a drive going. When they're gaining yardage, and your base front is not working, they're blocking you, and you need something to try to get them to second and long to try to stop a drive or in the red zone. So some of these creepers are more pass specific. Some are run and pass both. But once again, now 2 ways to accomplish in a tight front, I feel like, to get into an over front is you can bump your line so you can give an over call and completely bump the line over. You can take that 4-eye all the way down, put him on a shade in the center. To me, the drawback of doing that is sometimes he sees some different blocks and some different situations that he's not used to seeing, but you can do that. You can also take your other defensive end, leave the nose in a shade, take the other defensive end over and play both your defensive ends on the same side. And I got that. That's what Dave Aranda did a lot of the times when he was at Wisconsin. That's where we got the idea. You can also take the defender, your end, which is normally a 4-eye, play him in a 3, play your shade, play your 5, and bring your jack or nickel over. So I think either one of those 3, it's just depending on, once again, your personnel, how you want to align that, how you teach it, how much time you have in your practice structure. For the most part, we will bring our defensive end over because we feel like a lot of times our jack, which we call a nickel, is a good pass rusher. So we're trying to get that matchup with him into the boundary. The first pressure, or the one that we call the most, is called Allen. For us, creepers are quarterback family pressure. So once again, we try to get everything into families. We have baseball terms, we have transportation terms, we have weapons, we have modes, and then we have quarterback calls. Quarterback calls are calls that now alert that once again a non-declared rusher, is going to be rushing, and a declared rusher, a down person, is going to be dropping. So on Allen, and we denote that by the gap that they're coming. So Allen is an A-gap pressure. We will change the name. It's been Allen, it's been Aikman, it's been Akili, Bledsoe has been Brady. We try to change those names so we're not saying the same things, we're not signaling the same things. It's the same path, it's the same for everyone else. But here's what we try to do to associate. When the defenders hear Allen, the nose knows almost exactly every time that when he hears a quarterback call, he has an Oscar technique that we talked about in our front terms. So for him, an Oscar is a 2-face move. He is out to the outside shoulder of the guard. If the tackle is down versus run, he will hard joint and play the run there. If the tackle is down in pass protection, he will hit and work to outside. He is a cop player. He contains on pass. What we hope we get here in this situation, if it's a pass, is this tackle setting for the defensive end. If this tackle is not setting hard and working to block that defensive end, that nickel, that jack, then we may just be rushing him. We may not call these pressures in a passing situation. But we hope we get him, and then we can contain through the B gap, getting to the outside shoulder of the quarterback. This is a good assignment for us because a lot of times we will play with a smaller nose. And we would rather have a bigger nose, but we would rather play with a smaller guy that is more athletic, more powerful, as opposed to a big guy that can't run. So it's advantageous that when this guy is shaded, a lot of times the rest of the offensive line is not aware of what the remainder of the defense is doing. So we allow to draw some pressure off of this guy that the guard and center, if it is a rundown, can't always double team him because he may now work outside of that guard. This is a skill that he drills all the time. It's a skill we work. We feel like these base creepers, we can run against anything. Now, we have some that are specific to protections. We have some that are specific to teams, to what we want to get accomplished, but we have a few that we feel like we should be able to run in any situation against any offense. We will give an out call to the defensive end, which is the same out call that is giving to him in our Brewers, our base pressure. So we're trying to do, we talk about a lot as coaches, we want to teach same as. We want to tell this defensive end, when we call Allen, this is the same as how we do it in Brewers. The linebacker. Now, we can change by rule, camp rule in this call, the linebacker to the side of the back is the first one to go. He is reading the center. So I tell him this is the same as Brewers. In Brewers, he blitzes and reads the guard. In Allen, because it's an A gap and because it's a quarterback term, you are going to blitz and read the center. He's the first one to go. He cannot read out. He's going to blitz. If he sees the face of the center, he's going to cross it. If he sees the tail of the center, he's going to penetrate. Trying to be alert pre-snap too. Are both these guys heavy-handed? Are both these guys light? Is one heavy? Is one light? Depth of the back. The more experienced this guy is, the more he can be aware and the more repetition he has of what he might see. The will linebacker is the second blitzer. I tell the will linebacker, the guard to the side of the back or the tackle if it's a tackle pulling team, we cue him in on the biggest way to hurt this pressure is if we get the pull away and then he does not redirect. So we want to really key him in less on the back here and more on his initial of this guard pulling because that will now change his path. He will stick his foot and redirect back to that pulling guard. So we will allow that second blitzer to read out of the blitz. The defensive end to the field is the dropper. This is now in this Allen pressure, the nickel works dropping a lot. At least twice a week, we will take a 5-minute period with that nickel and work on, is he a hash dropper dropping straight back, or is he a hip dropper dropping to the inside hip of the nearest wide receiver? He works that frequently. The defensive end, we will get him at least one 5-minute period, and we talk to him of being alert. Does he have a number 3 receiver? If he has a number 3 receiver, he is going to take 2 steps to make sure and secure the run, and then he is going to depart and angle to the inside hip of that receiver. What we hope we show an offense is that they have open, and I believe it's the concept of showing an offense space and then taking space away. We want to show them that they have space here. If there is no number 3 receiver, he will drop straight back no deeper than 6 to 8 yards. Because what happens a lot of times, if this 3 technique does get pinned, if he doesn't make it outside, the quarterback will scramble, he will re-engage. And I've got a clip in here. We will also make a now call with this to where we don't cross-dog it. Everyone else does the same thing, but we call Allen now, and both of those linebackers blitz their gap. He was dropping out once the quarterback broke contain. This 3 technique got pinned. He came back up into the pressure. The majority of the time, we will play quarters or quarter, half behind this, and I'll talk about that when we get to our coverage piece. But that's once again what we like about creepers is it's a front structure we can call. It speeds up the fit and the read for the linebacker. It slows down, hopefully, the offensive line because of the movement, but we don't have to change the coverage structure. We don't have to put anything new in for these guys. Whatever your word is for quarters across the board, quarter, half, they're not aware at all. We're just changing who is dropping into these zones, just understanding that this guy is going to be probably the least effective dropper. He's not, in high school, unless you've got him a full-time player, he's not going to be real good at pattern matching, 3 going out, finding 2,